Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Do More with Less, but this time the founder edition, and I'm delighted to be joined with Stan Garber, the co-founder and president of Levelpath. Stan, can you give us a quick intro and background to yourself and your journey in 30 seconds?
Oh, 30 seconds. Wow, Stuart, thank you so much for having me. So Stan Garber here, have been, let's see, a good quick background. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Initially, I went to school thinking I was going to be an investment banker, graduated in 2007, started a website company with my best friend, Alex, in college. We've known each other since high school. We built that during college, sold that right afterwards, built an online ordering for restaurant chains, which ended up getting sold in 2012 to Living Source for about 20 million. I then ended up building a company called Scout RFP. Scout built, got to a pretty good size, moved out of San Francisco. We'll jump more details. Got sold for $540 million to Workday, led Workday procurement for a number of years, and then ended up leaving in 22 with my co-founder Alex to work on now Levelpath. And we are building a generational company. That's our vision here. We've raised over 100 billion in just less than 3 years of operations and are now off to the races. So excited to be here and talk about go-to-market and entrepreneurship and anything that, top of mind to you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, what a journey. How much has changed from the first business to building the current business on a scale of like 1 to a million? Is it just radically different having that view of a 3-4 time founder?
Yeah, it's everything just happens faster. I mean, I think we kind of I remember doing just in the last year just a conversation with students on how it's like never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. And when it comes down to I visually remember when we graduated college, we took on $500,000 in funding in Cleveland to launch what it became Onisys, online ordering system. That's what it stood for, very fancy names. And I remember the first $50,000 we had to order Dell servers. And we got these blades. We were literally setting up and installing software on the blade servers in one of our bedrooms. We then figured out a place to host them in the downtown center of Cleveland called Blue Bridge. I still remember we had we drove down, we installed them, we put them and then we had to manage them. We had to buy the load balance, all this stuff. That's not even a thought today. Like when you build a company, you're operationalized in 20 minutes. With a few configurations and you're off to the races. That's not even a thought. That's not even a cost. Almost all of them give you credit to even start off with. So it's just a very different world we are living on, and it's better. It's faster. But I would say speed is hands down the biggest thing you look at from there to here. And I know we're gonna talk about AI and speed, but that has shifted drastically, and you've seen this. And I mean, I've been in business for 20 plus years of my life. Folks that have seen 30, 40 years, it's crazy what they've experienced.
Yeah. It's so interesting. And when you think about we're going to talk about speed a lot in AI, but from a organizational structure for where the business is today and what you're doing at Levelpath, how have you had to think differently on a people kind of baseline expectation of what's needed to maybe hit those critical revenue goals of 0 to 10, 10 to 50, 50 to 100 million when you are going for that generational outcome that you mentioned at the top of the conversation?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's kind of evolved, and maybe I take a step back and kind of just talk through because ultimately it's every company kind of had its own process and how you think about it, and going back to the first true company Alex and I were working on. We kind of divided the company in 3 buckets. I handled go-to-market, he handled operations and success and getting customers, and then we had another founder that handled Oleg that handled the tech, and we kind of just ran those separately. And the company got to a few million in revenue. It was actually a great outcome. But when I look around, you've got every multi-billion-dollar SaaS enterprise company in the 2010s right around the corner here. And you kind of started thinking about how did they operationalize, and you start getting this understanding. And then you start seeing how much sales and go-to-market and even engineering becomes a science. There's math around it. You kind of have to think about scale. And at different points when you think about, when you're seed, you're just trying to validate an idea. You have a thesis. I think we can go sell this. I think there's a problem to be had there. You build it, and it's under founder-led sales typically. That's literally just us doing it. Then you start seeing some success. You bring in your first reps. by default. And like you kind of go through that sales motion. You realize early founders, the first time you do this, like those folks, low chance of everybody working out in that category, but you kind of have to go through that pain and you go through it all. I think the second and third time you start to get a rhythm and you know what to look for, which has been helpful. But then you start building out that repeatable process. Then you get to a series A and you're like, okay, time to actually, there's product market fit. And then when you get to B, in our journey here at Levelpath, B was like, okay, scale up. So even though we're 3 years old as a company, and I would say this past 12 months, so we've been around for 3 years, the first 2 years was product engineering, foundation was really enterprise building and architecting. This past 12 months, we went from, at this time, last year, we had myself, 4 salespeople. Now we've got myself, a CRO, 3 directors, 15 salespeople, a whole SC program. Like that scaled up quickly because we were able to go validate a lot of that data set early on. And we invested and we had the luxury because we were able to take on some funding and we're building something pretty big. So we had the luxury to do that, but you kind of need that foundational, like, validation from C to A, and then you could scale up to B.
Yeah. And with the sales team currently, there's, 15 reps. How much are they leveraging AI in their ability to close revenue versus how much you prioritizing in person, relationship building? Like, how are you deciding on that focus for them when you think about the reps on an individual basis?
Yeah. It's a good question. We're foundationally, we're an AI platform. Like we started building in November of 22. Open AI released ChatGPT to the world in November. Talk about timing. We didn't even think about it when we were working on the idea in the summer. It just serendipitously, better to be lucky and smart in some cases. And yeah, you kind of make your own luck. But in this case, we started doing this foundationally and we started experimenting in 23 when the APIs came out. So for us, we have a philosophy, like if we want to tell the world we are an AI native organization, we have to embrace that internally first. So not just in our product, which has got a lot, but like every team has to do it. And we've gone through a whole series. And one of the things, I'll come back to go-to-market in just a moment, but even our engineering world, right? We went through a world where every single engineer at Levelpath is certified. We created our own certification process on how to use AI to become more efficient at what you do. So they actually, part of their 90-day onboarding process is they have to get certified through a process where they actually, somebody watches them on the team, go through, build a certain process and how they're using, get everything, get all the repository, get all the code connected into in a way that they can actually show that they're using AI to be more efficient. On the sales side, and I use this myself, whether it's just getting a quick follow-up, an email. I remember having notes and notes of, things that I would have to be writing down, scrambling, like all of these small things are making our lives better. And the philosophy when we talk to our customers, things that take you hours now should take you seconds to be able to do. And that's what we do, whether from the sales standpoint on note-taking to follow-up emails to like all the core, but you still have to humify everything. We're an enterprise sales organization. Yeah. And as much as you want AI to do stuff, I get so many emails where I know it's AI written. I mean, and man, we even had awkward moments where people are just like they're copying and pasting even the front and the bottom text from ChatGPT, and you're like, come on. Like, so by default, you still have to run you're still buying from people. You're still building the relationship. What I'm trying to do is the one thing that with Levelpath compared to Scout, we have no BDRs today at Levelpath. AEs are able to become so much more efficient in this process that I think BDRs are great. We just haven't needed it yet. It doesn't mean in the future we won't, but up to this point, we haven't needed them. That function, at least in the company. And I think that's an important thing that I can honestly attest to. AI's opening up time in the day to make individuals prospect faster, sending out notes faster, do their follow-up items faster. But you still have to do the hard work. You are not going to automate yourself out of that function, no matter what you do. There's so much automation in marketing too, because I also will give a ton of credit to the marketing process today, because it almost leverages like whether it's like you can do targeted ads, you could do not just I mean, commercials. Literally, procurement people are getting commercials with Levelpath as they're watching Monday Night Football. I get texts and photos from prospects and customers like, I just saw your commercial online, right? Like we can get to that such level of granularity, and that's not even AI. That's just the tech that's been set up over the years. So it's just like, so I think we're generationally changing how people. I'm not saying that for everybody that's the same, and also with a lot of remote folks, they don't have corporate numbers anymore, really. So you're just leaving voicemails, hopefully that it's just showing up that you're like pinging them. But I do think I've actually gotten to a point where we're trying to get people to text more, like with their prospects, like get them on a text basis, like figure out a relationship with them, build the trust early. And I like once you do it as an AE, you kind of have control over the whole process. It's kind of magical.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast. I'm sure I'm jumping in at a totally inopportune moment. Just to say that Do More With Less is brought to you by Orbital X, the marketing resource group. That's it. That's all I wanted. Back to the podcast.
Yeah, I love it. I think the interesting thing you said just before we went onto the commercial team was about the AI certification for the engineering team. And, I meet a ton of founders, CEOs that have that fear that they're not AI native enough or even AI centric or even like AI, adopting internally. How did you operationalize that type of certification? Like, what were the steps? Was that just your CTO was super good? Did you bring in a partner? Like, what was the process to establish that? And then kind of anything you can relate to on the product outcome by having that mentality, like how much quicker did you build? What was the change that went on there?
Yeah, there's kind of two ways to think about this, right? It's like you could look at every single employee and have them re-interview for their jobs. Like that's a drastic idea. Imagine every engineer and have them reapply for the job. And then this is an AI centric organization now. How are you going to fit in? And then some people would just might not make the cut. The other flip. So in the flip side that we did, it said, well, let's give everybody an opportunity and actually go through a process. And so, yes, we had some great head of engineering and CTO, like we had some great ability to codify a process to be like, hey, show me that you're using Claude Code. Show me that you're using getting it all connected with our internal applications that we're using. How are you actually using AI to help you in the day-to-day process? Literally visualize, show us like 30 minutes of you coding with AI helping you do the job. Because there's something really special about that if you actually do it. Because there's like you do it on the side. But if it's actually baked into the process, it just works. So we went through the cert around that. They set it up and then we gave a timeline. It was a few months as we went through this last year. Every engineer had to go through it. And if they didn't go through it, you're probably not the right fit culturally at this time. Everybody went through it. If you built technology 22 and after, you're just going to do it slightly differently than if it was before. If you're 5 years, 6 years, even 3 years into a platform, from the late 2000, like 2019, 2018, like you kind of have to make a decision. Do you replatform different elements or do you continuously keep evolving it? Or do you just bolt on components and you're going to have to tweak the dials? When you think about AI, when you think about mobile, like native versus just building on the web browser, you're just going to do things differently. And some companies will embrace it and rebuild, and some companies will kind of just go through their motions. And you've seen the big tech sell-off right now that's happening because people are just questioning like whether these big giants, they're going to be fine, but like, are they going to grow as fast? I think no. I genuinely think startups like Levelpath and others, Sierra, others are going to change the game. It's going to be a different product. You're going to need less licenses from some of these bigger enterprises ultimately.
It sounds like an amazing kind of onboarding experience that you put them through that type of journey and training and really bringing everybody to a place of clarity on the direction of this team, the kind of non-negotiables. What's been the outcome in the velocity of the product being built, and maybe compare that to previous businesses that you create? Any way that you can kind of, I guess, synthesize what the outcomes have been?
It's speed. I mean, like you nailed it. And this is just going back to everything you think about. You asked me a question earlier, which was like, from every company, when you take a moment and you reflect and, when I think about it, when I look at 3 years of what we've accomplished here at Levelpath compared to Scout, we are literally light years ahead from like a velocity of what we've done. Our product is probably 3 times, if not even 4 times, the size of what we've done in 3 years, what it took us almost 8 years to do at Scout. And a lot of it comes to clarity. We knew what we were building, a lot more confidence then, much more focused. And then AI is making every engineer just better and faster and getting some of this stuff out the door. And we're iterating quicker. And then the other part is just to be, you've seen this with any AI company. If we started this in 2023, let's say, to even 26 now, the capabilities, every model is unlocking new capabilities that even the creators don't always necessarily know of these models, because you're just experimenting and you're like, wow, you could do that. Like, oh my God, I could do this. And then you start, and then there's a lot of buzz around agents right now and how you orchestrate all those areas too. Like so much stuff that you can do today that you couldn't touch a year ago. So in the next 12, 18 months from like an enterprise software, you're going to see some real use cases to automate functional workflows, which I am so excited about in the space that we're in.
And on that point, like when you mentioned Claude Code as an example of a tool that has enabled some of this outcome, like for those listening, what should be the expectation on the increased velocity of an individual engineer when you think about, like, are they 2 times more efficient? Are they 3 times? Or is it difficult to do that because of the differences in role and responsibilities? Like what can people, reference as a baseline?
That one's like, you have such extreme answers on this one. You've got like everybody, like, because everybody's aspiring for that 10x engineer on their team. Like, it's like, what's that 10x multiplier? I'm like, I want all of my junior engineers to be 10x engineers. I don't know. I am like, to me, when I look at it just pure like over time, if you can double it, 1.5 to double the output from every engineer, I think there's more, to be clear. But I think if you do that like holistically, like that is a fundamental impact, like a huge impact. I know there's this, hypothetical idea of somebody's, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen in some way, but I don't think in the enterprise, one person running $1 billion company, right? That's like using AI to, or like, I don't think we're going to get there ever from an enterprise standpoint.
Yeah, with all the, as you say, with how things are changing over the next, or basically like how things could continue to evolve over the next 12 to 18 months, how are you thinking about the business and like your like spend threshold and your willingness, like, are you going to raise more money? Or are you thinking that you've kind of foundationally set the team up? Like, what is the, like, with so much change that's possible, how are you as repeat founders thinking about the next move in the equation?
I mean, nothing, I think the more success you have, the more you unlock, right? It's like every stage, every founder. We've had the luxury of, being able to do it a few times, which is great because hopefully you're making brand new mistakes and not repeating any of the old mistakes you're doing. Plus, trust me, there'll always be mistakes everybody makes. So just every founder, just know that is normal. And so for us, we raised a lot for a reason. We knew that we were going to have to build some pretty large enterprise. We are building a system of record around a supplier profile, ultimately, which is not there in today's market, truly. And so for us, we knew we needed to raise more capital this time around, and we did. And then right now we're kind of heads down, just building the foundation, building the engine. Like I mentioned, this past year was the first year go-to-market really got kicked off at Levelpath. And we've seen some phenomenal success, but we still have a long way to go. Like everything kind of needs to get built up. So by default, as a founder, am I like thinking about the next round? Not necessarily. And we start with obsess over your customer. And I kind of smile. I'm looking at this. I have these are cups they have in bodegas in New York a lot, and they always say like, "We're happy to serve you," right? And I drink my coffee every day out of one of these cups here in the office, and it's a reminder of how much we obsess over the customer. Dave Duffield, one of the founders of Workday, I've had a series of conversations with him always, and he's like, "Look, do one thing," and Dave's built 7 companies now, incredibly successful. Just one of the most successful people in the world, actually, period. And him and Anil Bushri as well, just wonderful individuals. And they're both just, and Dave specifically is like, look, Stan, take care of your customers. If you take care of your customers, they're successful, they're happy with your product, you will build a foundationally great company with that. And that it's the core of what we still have to do. So if we go do that, AI aside, all the fancy things helping you, you can use all of these things to help, but you still need to have impact and success with our customers. And if we can go to that fundamentally, if I can safely go to when I'm in a sales cycle with a new customer, I'm like, you want to go call 5 of our customers? Great. Let me give you their numbers. I have their cell phones. Let me text them right now to you. Like, that is gold. And if founders can do that and they've established that level of credibility and friendship, and like a lot of our customers are friends now over the years because we've been able to take care of them. I think it comes back to that. So if we do that, do we need more money? Maybe. Like, we'll figure that out. Like, we will go through that. The most important thing is go execute on the plan that you've established with your co-founders, with your board. Just go get it done. There's nothing that needs to deviate you from that. I know that's more of a holistic answer, but that's how I think about it. It's simple.
Yeah. I think it's so relevant because it's like that customer centric approach, you know, with the referrals, the NRR impact, like it's all so connected, and they move to other businesses and they bring you in.
Oh, 100%. We've had multiple buyers that have bought Levelpath from even companies. This is a great question I always like to ask entrepreneurs when they're building like relationships. I'm like, when's the last time you messaged a bunch of your customers, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, happy New Year, pinged them on their birthday to say happy birthday? Like, founders are kind of like, oh, am I supposed to do that? It's like, yeah, like literally invest. Like, they're investing in you in a big way. Like, the least you could do, and you can run a Valentine's campaign coming up, you know, like, we love you. Like, small things have such impact from an enterprise standpoint.
Yeah, love it. So what would be like 3 or 4 examples of how, like, I mean, that's a great one there. I love the Valentine's campaign. Like, how do you how do you become customer centric? Like, what is it that your expectations are, let's just say either on the commercial or the product side, to really embody that value of obsessing over the customer?
Yeah. So number one, I would say this is one of the first things when I talk to entrepreneurs, and I ask the question, like, when have you seen your customers in person? They're like, well, we do everything online. Like, we don't need to. And I'm like, that's a horrible answer. They don't know you, and they're just relying solely on the product, which is fine. They're again, some companies that works amazing for. Our product is very much so in the weeds, a lot of configuration, a lot of setup, a lot of collaboration needs to happen. I have a Slack channel called On the Path. At Scout, we had a Slack channel called Scout and About, right? And it's like, we literally, somebody's out. You're taking photos, you're sharing, like, you're with the customer, you're bringing like them cookies, you're bringing them breakfast when they're in a meeting. You are out there in the field. You are with them. And it also creates this amazing experience in the company where people are like, man, like, we are out there. People are using our product. They're hanging out with us. They're a part of it. We see this when customers come in the office. This is another thing we love doing. We have tiles for every customer that signs up. And so when you walk into our office, you see a big wall of customers, and like tiles, they're like this big, little squares. Anytime a customer comes in, I have a silver Sharpie behind one of the tiles, and we go through this moment of like, we need you to sign our tile. We need you to take a photo with us in front of your tile. They sign it, they autograph it, they feel special. There's a delightful procurement photo right next to them. We do it all together. We're celebrating them in their success. Like, we hand out trophies when they go live. We do small things like that really create a ripple and a bond effect with it. So just some quick examples that we do to really drive that.
Love it. And how do you think about like customer feedback? You know, when you are so customer centric, like, have you noticed an expectation that the product, you know, new features should be deployed faster? Like, how are you connecting the product and the customer feedback in a more effective way? You know
what? This one, I would also, my co-founder, Alex, he also set up, we call it, there's a meeting every single day in the company at, I think it's at 3 o'clock. We do it every single day. It started, we called it Cinco. It was 5 people, and now it's like 25 people. But it's basically a download from like because you're not talking to an exact customer every single day, but the team is talking, and it's literally a feedback session every day of like, what is the latest, what is happening, like ups, downs. Somebody's experiencing an issue, this is happening. And then you start prioritizing, and then you have to open up a part of your engineering org that is customer centric and customer obsessed. They're jumping. Do customers control the roadmap? No, they can't. You can't literally, you have to have a balance of like innovations, big things you're working on, core principles on rocks, and then the customer. And you have to do a fine balance of all three of those things. But in an enterprise, specifically a solution where you really are, every enterprise is kind of unique. So you have to build a flexible application that can mold, and then you keep modifying. And the bigger you get, the bigger customers you get, the bigger challenges they expose. But having that feedback loop that happens every single day, whether we're in the office or not, is really, really important. And I don't see that changing ever. Like, that is going to be a meeting that will always stand. That is a way to just keep a pulse on everything. And then all the communications, all the literally the customer success team meets with customers in pre and post launch once a week. Then it goes to a stable mode. Then they go to maybe once every 2 weeks, down to once a month once they're like fully operationalized mode. So, but you're always talking to customers.
Love it. Yeah, it's amazing. I guess the final question that I would have is, like, what's your kind of predictions over the next 6 to 12 months with how, fast models are evolving, with the new technologies coming through, the disruption? Like, what's your kind of senses, and what would be your advice to other founders listening that are conscious of this kind of AI revolution and thinking about, their own business? Is there anything that you can share just with all your amazing experience?
It just depends where you are in your journey as a founder. I would say if you're early on and you've built some product where you're like, it's kind of like, there's going to be a moment where you're going to have to either replatform, or you're going to get eaten up by competition. Like, you are, just straight up. There's even companies that have hundreds of millions in revenues that PE groups and are just writing off. Like, I know that's a crazy thought to say. But that is happening. I do think some of the biggest things that will happen is memory, with some of the AI capabilities in memory as you're kind of going through and building these capabilities out. Nobody needs to develop their own models. Like, it's silly. It's a commoditized component, whether you're using, and Gemini is doing phenomenal things right now. Claude is doing phenomenal things right now. OpenAI is doing phenomenal. So you have so much to pick from when you're going through this. The biggest thing I come back to: business problems. Look and solve business problems. Like, if you're going to enterprise, like, I'm not going to speak to consumer. Consumer is way more finicky. I have no idea how to run a consumer company. I know enterprise companies. So when I come back and I talk to founders, AI is wonderful, but figuring out what is the business problem you are solving for, step one, and then working backwards using AI to help you. I think that is a really important thing. What you don't want to do is go tinker with AI and just build stuff and not have, you might get some initial success, but then to scale something like that is going to be really tough. And so everything we think about is, like, when we think about building the next wave of agents in Levelpath, it's like, let's go to our customers. What are the business challenges they're experiencing it? And let's go build those types of experiences and those workflow automations around that. Let's not just go sit in a room, throw stuff at a dartboard and see what we can do. Like, identify great customers that can tell you their problems, that you can create repeatability about it. And then when you think about scaling a business for new entrepreneurs, make sure your TAM is big and something you can get your hands around. Because if there's 10 buyers for your product, it's going to be hard to scale. Or 150 buyers, which is the first company that we started. Yeah. With Levelpath, we have millions of buyers of our product from an enterprise standpoint. So just when you think about that, I would say that those are really important things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess the final question I would have is selling, 3 businesses, 4 businesses, 2 businesses. What is it that drives you to come back and go again? Like, why not just retire and have it easy on the West Coast of America? Like, what is that driver, that thing that compels you to go on again and on that journey in a super competitive period of building software?
Yeah. Less about purely software, but we actually tried the vacationing, going to the beach. I tried that for a week after we left, and I ended up running to 2 individuals there, both CEOs, and we ended up talking about work the whole entire time. And one of them became an investor, and et cetera. So this is a fail. So that's step one. So we tried the beach thing, and me and my co-founder just like, what are we? And I get one of the other piece of fun advices that I got was like, my kids, I've got they're 6 and 10 right now. They're a few years younger we were starting Levelpath as well. It's like, what are they going to do? Watch dad sit around? It's like, no, it's time to build. Like, we're in this, like, who wouldn't want to be in their prime time in their career where like the dot-com era was born again, right? I was a kid. I was 9 years old. I was 8 years, when the dot-com era was like blue. It's like man, being a part of that, building that. It's like we now have a moment now with AI. It's like you're part of a new generation of software being built. Like, why not be part of that? Like, why sit around all day? It seems nice and luxury, but then when you do it, you're like, after 2 days, you're like, this is not going to work for me. And one of the funniest things they always say, like in every one of those classes, like the hardest thing you do is showing up, right? And like, and like, it's true. Like just showing up and getting started is half the battle. The rest will take care of itself. And not every idea will be widely successful, but like getting out and doing it really does, like thinking about it. So the biggest advice is just go do it. Like get out there, especially for young entrepreneurs. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing advice. And I know I've said a final question a few times now, but as somebody that's built these multiple businesses with, great investors, you mentioned at one point in the conversation that, hopefully the good days are better than the bad days. How, like, what would be your advice to founders listening where it feels like there's a lot of bad days?
Well, I will say I do have one unfair advantage that and this is how, when you start a company, I started a company with the co-founder that I've just had a great chemistry over the last, we've been working together for 23 years,
Wow.
Right? Which is great. And the reason I point that out, and it's kind of important, is you help each other out, right? When one is down, usually the other one is there to support. And like being a sole founder is really hard. I haven't gone through that myself. I honestly don't want to. But it's like who do you talk to at the end of the day? Because when you're a founder or CEO or like you're by yourself, like you don't have anybody else to bitch to, right? Everybody bitches to you, but like you don't have anybody else to bounce ideas off, to like check your sanity. You're bored. And you also had, depending on the relationship, not every board member is going to work in the same way. Alex and I, even though after a number of years, I like him and I can have a conversation. We were just at dinner with our wives and we literally had a conversation. We just stared at each other and had a multi-sentence back and forth without looking. And then both of our wives were like, did you guys just, and we're like, yeah, this is what happened. And it's like, there you go. And I think that's really important, having that chemistry and that helps you on a long journey like that. But when you are a sole founder, at the end of the day, like the energy you exude is how the company will follow. Like that is it, right? And it's I talk about it with sales meetings every single time. We could do a whole session on just how to run a sales meeting. Good God. And it's like, if you show up at a sales meeting and you're not excited about the product, you're not excited about your mission, whatever, they're not going to be excited at the other side of the table. Why are they like, you don't build credibility in the first wave. Like, why are they going to run through a wall for you to go ask funding? Like, they're not. So like, you have to, the energy you put out into your organization is the energy that they're going to go take to the world. So if you don't bring it, they're not going to bring it.
100%. Yeah, with my other founders, one of the things we reference is living in the positive. And it's like, even when things are really bad, it's like, what's the positive? Because it just lifts everybody up. And it's just, it's so important that you've got that mindset and mentality. So, it's awesome. Well, look, it's been an amazing conversation, Stan. Thank you so much. Your link to your LinkedIn will be in the comments on this YouTube and the Spotify. And I'm sure people can reach out to you and connect on social through that means.
Awesome. Stuart, thank you so much for having us. This is a great conversation. Excited to hopefully come back and do some more later on too.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Thanks so much, Stan.